All the way from the start, I can feel it in my heart, like all the way from the start.
Hey, what's going on out there? Today I've got a little bit different video for y'all. I want to talk about some reading material that I think will be helpful for the aspiring mix engineers as well as producers out there. I've gotten a lot of questions on the channel about, have I gone to school to learn how to be a mix engineer, mastering engineer, producer? Are there books that I've read? I did not go to a formal school, but I have read a lot of material on the subject. I have been to some seminars, some things over the years that have helped just kind of create the foundation for my knowledge, and then through experience and just a lot of time, I've gotten to where I am in terms of being a mix engineer. But anyway, there are a couple of books that I have read and that I want to recommend to you all. I actually just got a new book just to do some research for y'all, to give you something. Certain people out there like to have something in writing. So obviously you have a ton of resources at your disposal on YouTube. On this channel, we're providing a lot of content, a lot of information that is taught in these books. But again, if you want to have something that you can just sit down and read and have in this form, I've got a couple of recommendations for you. All right, so let's take a look at the first book that I want to recommend for you all, and it's called Home Recording for Musicians. Now, this is by Craig Anderton, and it's an older book. There is actually not a new version of this out, and so some of the information is going to be a little bit outdated in terms of the DAW stuff, as well as just some of the tape recording. Most of you all are not working with tape. However, the reason I'm recommending it is it contains a lot of just great general knowledge for, recording, signal flow, setting up your microphones, just a lot of useful information in here and general terminology that's going to really help you be more prepared in a studio environment, or even just working on your own. Definitely recommend this. So we'll have a link for all the books underneath the description. All right, so the second book that I want to recommend is Modern Recording Techniques. This is by David Miles Huber, and there is a new edition for this. This is an older one. This is the one that I read a long time ago, but it has, again, some great general knowledge for recording, and I just think it's indispensable in terms of just kind of preparing yourself for all of the different technical aspects of recording. And again, getting the terminology down. There's also some really good information in here on acoustic treatment. So if you're doing something in your home studio, or you're building out your own studio environment, I found the stuff in here about building those acoustic treatment environments for yourself really, really helpful. And there's just stuff that goes way beyond your typical just mixing and mastering setup or producing setup. It gets really deep. Highly recommend this. I think it'll take your studio knowledge to the next level. Next recommendation I have for you all is the Mixing Engineer's Handbook. This is by Bobby Osinski. The way I became familiar with this is Bobby is actually an author on lynda.com as well as myself, so I stumbled upon it through there, and he's been writing a lot of books for a number of years. And so I bought this just to do some research, because this is the only one that I could find specifically on mixing that I felt like would be applicable to a lot of the things we cover on the channel. And it definitely is very useful in terms of having, again, that written kind of form for all the knowledge that we're looking at in terms of being a mix engineer. So some really useful stuff in here. There's also a section of interviews at the end of the book. So there's probably 15 to 20 interviews with some really heavy hitters in the industry, mixing and mastering guys. And I found those very interesting, just to give you some perspective. It's always good to just be familiar with how other people are doing things. You may be able to pick up something along the way. So I would definitely recommend this. All right, so the last one I want to recommend to you all is called Zen and the Art of Mixing. It's by pseudonym Mixer Man. This is actually Eric Seraphin. I've studied a lot of his work in the past. He's a really talented mixing engineer. And this one's more of a psychological perspective on mixing. It's not so much the technical stuff, but I feel like this is just as important to really familiarize yourself with, just running a room and understanding what your clients are wanting. It's just a very interesting read, something I would recommend. There's also Zen in the Art of Producing, which I just recently got. I'm going to check that out and we'll let y'all know about it. But this is a very, very good read, entertaining as well, and indispensable in terms of your mixing knowledge. All right, y'all. So those are a couple of recommendations for reading material that you can purchase and check out to better your mixing and mastering and producing knowledge, but most importantly, your just general knowledge on recording, signal flow, the basics of engineering. There's so much information in these 4 books that if you read this, you're going to be familiar with arguably all of the aspects of working in a studio and being an engineer, whether that's mixing or tracking, whatever, producing. So really some good stuff in here. Again, there's links just below the video in the description to purchase these. Let me know what you think. If you have any books that you'd like to recommend to myself and others on the channel, feel free to leave them below. If you learned anything in this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.